Our first honoree is celebrating her 30th anniversary at F.A. Davis. Judy Neely has been at F.A. Davis for 9 editions of Tabors, all 14 editions of the Drug Guide, and of course, she was among the many who fashioned our cutting-edge button stating, "Nursing diagnosis is the way," for edition 1 of the Denji's Pocket Guide. She started as a sales manager in 1984 when sales had just reached a record 5.5 million. Since then, sales have crested as high as 40 million when including license revenue. Her rise to Director of Sales and Marketing, Vice President, and Senior Vice President does not begin to address the many hats she has styled. Bartholomew Cummins has nothing on Judy, as Dr. Seuss capped off Mr. Cummins at a measly 500 hats. And to Judy's everlasting credit, if there was a hat that didn't quite fit at first, she was no Goldilocks. She summoned her powers of flexibility until the hat fit much better, if not just right. Her intrinsic penchant for troubleshooting and developing talent and process has positioned her in all 3 of our Philadelphia locations, including a short stint at the distribution center when the company transitioned the customer service department from an unwanted extension of finance to a contributing function of sales and promotion. I will attempt to list her major achievements. Number 1, she reorganized the sales department and improved field staff stability back in the day when Don Weiss was a 10-year veteran. When Judy took over the advertising department, as it was called in 1992, it was direct mail pieces for medicine, flyers for reps, and the annual print catalog. In the last 22 years, the marketing department has, among other things, become a coveted voice in the planning and execution of our new digital deliveries. Judy has helped elevate the marketing function so that it is as indispensable as any department in the organization. She volunteered to chair the timeline committee to help the manuscript flow from nursing to production. This became a forerunner to the quarterly production meeting and what has now become the scheduled strategy meeting. When Judy was promoted to Senior Vice President in July of 2001, she took over electronic publications, for which she held responsibility for nearly 12 years. As Judy often did when overhauling a department, she ran it herself for 4 years before she hired a director. She has always understood the value of doing before managing. And she managed my brother for 3 years. And I know that's a hat that is not an easy size to fit. With electronics publications under her wing, the license revenue began to produce at windfall levels, and Judy was busy establishing relationships with our biggest revenue producers, Skyscape and Unbound. The affable Bob Casanino of Skyscape gave Judy and FAD a listening ear, but the uncompromising Bill Detmer of Unbound was another story. When Bill found out that Skyscape was chosen to offer the free mobile app for the 21st edition, he was on the next plane to Philadelphia to share his disappointment. As he did, complete with harsh accusations. Always the consummate professional, Judy somehow granted Bill an unexpected stay of execution. He's a very lucky man. I've played my fair share of golf, but I never played with Bill Detmer. On one of my marathon phone calls with Bill, I asked him if he played, and he said, "I play one beautiful round a year. Beautiful because it eventually comes to an end." Bill's counterpart at Skyscape, Sandeep Shah, had a different answer when I asked him that question. The scene was Beaton Brook Golf Club in Princeton, where new Skyscape employee Will Pisano is a member. Judy and I were looking forward to renewing a Williams and Wilkins-like rivalry from the 90s when Will and Ted Hutton would take on Judy and me until Type A Ted got tired of losing to F.A. Davis. So back to the question. Nice to meet you, Sandeep. When's the last time you played? As I caught a gleam off his very new-looking irons. Never. Was his reply. He made his point when he went to the practice putting green without a putter. For the next day and a half, or it seemed, he politely satisfied the virtues of golf etiquette as we chorused, "Nice shot, Sandeep," whenever he even made contact with the ball. I could only tell he was listening to my instructions when he would finally pick up his damn ball. In Bill Detmer speak, this was a very beautiful round, although its end could not come soon enough. Ever the gracious host, Will Pisano pledged to keep this new tradition going. Judy and I quietly agreed the next round of these guys will be coming, but only from the bar. Speaking of golf, Judy is the proud owner of 3 F.A. Davis scramble mugs. She also holds the record for elapsed time between wins, which at steamy Kiowa Island became 21 years. I'd like to say that she took the long drought patiently and to her MO professionally, and she did for the longest time. Until we went to Kohler, Wisconsin in 2008. Tied for the lead after the first day, her team, Bruyere, was in an excellent position to win. That night, as the suite became a festive place, I was suddenly hailed by a barrage of whistleblowers. "Rob, you need to hear Judy right now. Follow me." By the time I got there, all I heard was, "If anyone's going to choke, it's going to be George Riccardi." A comment would have been normal banner in a sales meeting, except for one thing. George was on Judy's team. Was there more? 6 eyewitnesses nobly came charging forth with their testimonials. In a high pitch, she had emphatically stated, "I haven't won a mug in 18 bleeping years, and this year I'm going to win bleeping something." And she did. The crying towel was all hers. It was undisputed. There were no other contenders. When I honored Judy 10 years ago, I rhetorically asked, "What is it like to have Judy as a direct report?" My candor widened as I contemplated how many times I had heard this. "I don't get enough support. Why was I left out of the loop again? How was it decided that we would be open after yesterday's blizzard?" I am happy to report that I must be doing better at this because I haven't heard those intonations as much. Maybe an occasional, "Just because I wear a skirt, I don't know math," or "What do I have to do to get another marketing person?" Judy, hopefully by your 40th, I'll have my act together. But the important thing to remember is that Judy and I have come a long way. Like from 5.5 million to 40 million, and to a constantly changing company infrastructure that has her fingerprints everywhere. She's been a diligent promoter of Davis Forward and a reliable detective when our operation has had an apparent breach of collaboration. F.A. Davis is an unlikely independent survivor in a sea of conglomerate beasts, and for the last 30 years, Judy has been instrumental in keeping us that way. In light of her countless contributions at F.A. Davis and her 30 years, she will be awarded airfare for 2 to anywhere in North America. Please join me in congratulating Judy for her amazing career.